Hello, and welcome to Way of the Holy Family. Thank you for joining us as we walk in perpetual hope, drawing ever closer to Jesus through life's struggles and triumphs, filled by the Eucharist and strengthened by community. Way of the Holy Family is here to bring light, encouragement, and a bit of childish fun for all families seeking holiness. Hello, everyone. Recently, my family went on a whole 2-day vacation. This is something we don't do often. In fact, it's extremely rare. I have not traveled for more than a year, and my family as a whole has not traveled for more than 3. So clearly, we don't go on vacations. And it had to be a spur-of-the-moment decision, apparently. Sunday morning, 2 days after my brother arrived from Montana, Oliver and I talked about how wonderful it would be just to get up and go, leave. We've had this exchange many times before. Oliver has a few days off, we have a running car, and a few dollars in the bank. Emotionally, so to speak, we would be ready to get out of Dodge and run back to Montana, see family, shoot off fireworks for the 4th, for example. But when we brought it up to prayer, like we need to do in all things, the answer has been no, not this time. And we don't fully understand it in the moment, but we trust him, and so we listen. But that morning, I felt an extra pull. At random, I opened vacation homes and zoomed in on the West Coast. I wanted to see the ocean. How much would it cost? What would it be like to rent a house for our family? There's enough of us. We kind of need the space. But there was a cloud of heaviness, of finances and resources that hovered over Oliver and I as we spoke to one another. And we thought, oh, we can't do that. And this is definitely not the time. Shifting plans on my brother suddenly. Rent just went up 10%. And we had several other expenses that blew our budget out of the water. Already sad and defeated, we approached the Lord and offered it up to him and said, Lord, what do you think of today? I heard at the bottom of my heart, it's going to be fun. I thought, okay, thanks. Now, I just said we bring everything to him and ask him about it. Did I ask him, should we go on this little vacation? No. I was already sad and defeated in my thoughts. And I thought to myself, what would really be fun today? I've had so many disappointments. I'm trying to be thankful for what was before me. And I still managed to hand over my heart to him and say, Lord, what do you think of today? And when he told me it's going to be fun, I'm ashamed to say I didn't fully believe him. At best, I said, well, Lord, you know what would speak to my heart as fun. And I moved on with my day. Thankfully, after Mass, my husband said, you need to go to the chapel to go pray on this. He was busy with some tasks, so I was interceding for the both of us. And I managed to ask the Lord, Lord, should we go on this 2-day vacation? And he said yes. A little scared, befuddled, overwhelmed, I approached a friend and asked her to pray for us. I was weeping. I was so shaken the fact that the Lord said yes. And she just prayed for peace over us. So I returned to my husband and I said, I believe we should go. And he said, okie dokie. And so before we left the church parking lot, I booked a 2-day stay at the first place I clicked on, a beach house with an unobscured view of the ocean. And we took 2 hours feverishly packing and we left. We arrived around 7 p.m. at a 2,000 square foot 4-bedroom home, floor-to-ceiling windows that overlooked grass and sand dunes. It off in the distance was a sharp sunset being swallowed by the horizon of the ocean. I cried in disbelief. It was beautiful. In my own living room, our window consists of a neighbor's window 25 feet away. And in summer, we gain a direct thin strip of sunlight from a sharp east angle around 6 a.m. or so, and it lasts only about 25 minutes. But that's all. For a girl coming from Montana, I like to take cat naps in the sun. So the sun and the view was something I had yearned to soak in for quite some time now. And what a gift it was. The day was fun. And Lord, forgive me for not believing you. Now, I know the grandeur was exciting. Sand 6 feet from the door at the base of the concrete steps was liberating for my children. We don't have a yard. The convenience of the outdoor shower to make sure that sand remains outside was a miracle for a mom keeping a house clean. And I think every place should have it, even my apartment. But what God had in store for us went so much deeper than the pretty sunset or the house. The sunset was important. God made it. And the house, God gave us the ability to make such beautiful things. And we, in thanksgiving, awe, wonder, and praise, need to appreciate these things that the Lord brings into our lives. But even further, He showed me these things in the context of His purpose. The house. It was empty, welcoming, yes. Understanding that without souls to love and to serve, it's a tomb. But it is a tool. At one point, I was sitting on the couch with my duvet and my coffee. I looked, thinking how clean it was. No clutter, like back home. The space was ready to serve. The kitchen had the bare necessities to feed a family. The table was clean and set. The couch I was sitting on was clear and free from chaos. Again, tools for Him. It was not void of toys, dirty laundry, or family life that materializes onto every surface. Those things are necessary. In fact, they serve. Rather, it was the distractions that were gone. We were masters of the space and the items of which we brought with us and utilized. We were not fighting for the space to serve us, our children, tend to chores that were present, or keep our hearts and minds in check. It wasn't a struggle. There was no friction. Christ was given permission to work in our space and for our space to work for us. And therefore, Christ worked on us. My brother and I had a new level of conversation. For all of us, hope was plausible, possible, and finally permitted to enter our hearts in so many ways. By observing this space in such a way, my eyes were opened with a new point of view on how to discern our current home. Does our space serve us? Do our things serve us? In what ways do they not? And if we were to move into that vacation home, I felt instantaneously that I would only bring a few things. We were busy. Sleeping, playing, eating, and all the tasks that only those 3 things include. I could not imagine hauling or adding or maintaining much more than the kids' homeschooling and Oliver's job, which is balls we cannot drop. Beyond that, everything else seemed like fluff. Necessary or not is yet to be determined, and for the qualification for it to remain in our lives was to answer the question whether or not it served God. I feel privileged to have experienced God's ocean in such an intimate and extravagant way. He liberated me. He cleared the way for my heart and my mind to breathe. These 2 days were not just a rest or a vacation, an escape from everyday life, but a renewal of the mind. Peace had become more real. I was given the gift to carry this more complete expression of heaven back to our everyday life, on earth as it is in heaven. Just as we're taught to pray, "Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven," God took these 2 days to draw us closer to Himself so that we may be able to realize, understand, and work with the Lord to make heaven ever more present from day to day. And I want to ask you just a couple of questions to think on. In what way is the Lord working to bring you more joy or more peace? In what way is the Lord clearing the scene to make way for heaven in your life? Peace, friends. Thank you for joining us today. Check back every Tuesday and Thursday as we drop new episodes and news. Feel free to follow, or if you would like to know more information about Way of the Holy Family, please click the link below to our website, wayoftheholyfamily.com.